Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Get Property Wise Wednesday chats with Candice and Leroy. And apologies for the delay. We just had a little bit of a challenge just getting online via the streaming platform. But I'm glad to see that everything is sorted now. So it's so good to be back with all of you. And for today's session, it will just be myself. Leroy will not be joining me today, but I've got a very good topic for those of you who will be joining me. And we're going to be talking about how to analyze a good property deal. So for those of you who are wanting to get started in property, this is definitely going to be a good session for you. You're going to be learning lots. And of course, for those of you who are still in your early stages of property investing, I believe you'll be able to walk away with some value as well. But for those of you already savvy investors, I don't think you're going to be learning much today because you already have and know all of this information. But definitely for those of you who are starting out, I think it's going to be a good session. So let me just check who we've got online here. So once again, we've got multiple devices when we do these wonderful chats. And I just want to make sure that I am connecting with all of you and all of you are able to connect with me. So for those of you who have just joined, please do just share with me where you are connecting from. Also just share with me, tell me a little bit more about you. So what do you do? Are you a property investor? Are you just starting out? And please remember to like this, share it with your friends, share it with your family. And I believe it's going to help everyone as they start their journey into property investing. So let me just make sure I've got everything now. Just connected here. Just give me a moment. Almost sorted on that. Okay, so we will be getting right into it now. So just give me a few minutes here, or moments in fact. And we should be good to go. Okay, great. So I think everything is connected there. So let me just make sure I've got this sorted. Awesome, great stuff. So yes, I can see some of you have already joined me, so that's really awesome. Please do just share with me where you are connecting from. Fatima, thank you. Iris, once again, thanks for joining. Jonathan, awesome. So Jonathan is currently a third-year student and would like to learn more about property. That's awesome. Thanks, Fatima. So you're from Lenasia, have sold my income property and looking to build a portfolio, having more knowledge. That's awesome. So thank you, everyone. Continue sharing those comments with us. We would be happy to also address some of those comments later on. Remember, like it, share this video, connect all your friends and family to it by sharing it, and so that they also can get some good learnings from today's session. So I think I'm going to get right into my presentation. So I actually have prepared a little bit of a presentation for you, which I think is important, because as I'm going to be working through the numbers, I think it's important for me to also just show you, some examples of some deals, so that you are able to, so that you actually know how to run the numbers yourself. So I am just going to be sharing my screen here. So just give me a moment as I do that. It shouldn't take me too long. Awesome. And I think everyone should be able to see my screen right now. So if you can maybe just, pop me a message and just let me know if you can see my screen. That would be good to see. Okay, so it looks like everyone can see my screen. Great stuff. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about how to analyze a good property deal. And I can already see from the comments that some of you are definitely the right audience today, because you are getting started in property, and some of you obviously want to move your goals forward in the areas of property investing. And I think before I get into my presentation, I think it's important to share with you, why we really started these Get Property Wise Wednesday chats. So myself, Candice van Wyk, and my business partner, Leroy Slava, who's also my brother, he and I started, these Get Property Wise chats a couple of weeks ago. In fact, I think we're into our second or third month now. So we've done a couple of sessions over the last couple of weeks. And really one of the main reasons why we started this was to educate people in the areas of property investing. So for those of you who are starting out, for those of you who would like to move your property portfolio to the next level, we really want you to get get some good information and insights through these Wednesday chats so that you would be able to get the learnings and be able to go out and actually start applying some of those learnings. So you would have seen that we've also had some amazing property entrepreneurs and investors join us over some of the weeks that we've had, even property professionals and experts, and everyone just sharing with the objective to educate you and to empower you in the areas of property investing so that you are able to move your goals forward. And I think we really are at a place today where every single person needs to learn how to invest in property the right way. Why? Because there's no such thing as job security anymore. Even for those of you who are studying, there's no guarantee that you're going to be finding a job, at the end of your journey. Whilst it's good to complete your education, it's also important to start learning about other investment strategies and other ways where you are able to generate the income that you need. And property then really becomes an awesome way for us to obviously build our wealth whilst we may be pursuing, other business ventures or our jobs or studies, whatever you are doing. So it becomes an awesome opportunity for us to start building our wealth, start generating additional monthly profit income. And in some cases, you're also able to generate lump sums of income. And I will be sharing a deal with you so that you can see how you're able to do that as well. So really, I do believe that we are at a place today where everyone needs to learn how to take advantage of the opportunities. Because if you think about it, with what's happened across the world, the impact that COVID-19 has had on multiple industries, in South Africa and across the world, I think we are really at a place now where it is important for us to actually see the opportunities, because in property there are opportunities. So if you know how to do it the right way and how to actually find those good deals and start assessing them, analyzing them, then there definitely is an opportunity for you to start generating some income through your property. So I think let's just go through some of the points. And for me, these items are very important, because I do believe that you need to work through these various items first before you can actually go out and make that purchasing decision. And I just want to take you through a few of them, and this presentation won't be too long, so really it will only be a couple of minutes, but I just think it's important to also just focus on some of these items. And I think one of the important things, when you start out in your property investing journey, before you even buy that deal, I think it's important for you to ask yourself this question: why do you want to be successful? Because really this is where it starts. It starts with our goals, it starts with our dreams, and it's important for us to be clear about those goals. Because if you think about it, if it was just about money, then everyone would have had more than enough money. But there needs to be a bigger purpose, a bigger reason of why we want to generate more income. And until we become clear on those reasons and those dreams, then you'll start attracting the right opportunities into your life as well. So it really starts with the mindset. It starts with the understanding of why we want to be successful. And now that you've discovered, why you want to be successful, it's important for you to know your financial goals before you actually go out and make that purchase, because this becomes very important. Are you just wanting to buy property because, you want additional income? Maybe that's your only reason. You just want to make additional income on the side so that you can live a more comfortable life. Some of you may want to take care of some bad debt that you've got out there, and you want to start settling some of those bad debts. So you have a requirement where you maybe need lump sums of income to assist you with some of those goals. Some of you maybe want financial independence. So you want to be free of a job. You don't want to have to exchange your time for money anymore. You want to be in a position where you've got all of your time back. Why? Because your property is giving you, all the income that you need. So some of you are maybe looking for financial independence or financial freedom. Some of you are looking to maybe work towards your retirement plan, and maybe that's where you are today, and you want to make sure that you start building that retirement pot, so that when you get to the stage of retirement, you're quite comfortable. And I think it's so important for us to know what our financial goals are, because this will determine what strategy in property is going to work best for you. So once you now understand your financial goals, what it is that you want to achieve in the short term, in the medium term, as well as the long term, now it's important for you to understand and identify which strategy is going to work for you. So just to kind of summarize, the main strategies in property, there are really two main strategies in property. One is a cash flowing strategy. So that means you get to generate monthly profit income through your rental portfolio. And then, of course, the other strategy is then a cash generating strategy, which is really lump sums of money that we are able to generate through capital strategies in property. So there are really two main strategies. Now that you've identified, okay, I am looking for profit income, monthly profit income, and we refer to that as cash flow in property. And cash flow is king. And I also want you to write this down. Find a pen, a piece of paper, just write this down. Cash flow is king, because at the end of the day, if you are looking for financial freedom or financial independence from your job, it's important for you to understand that cash flow is going to help you become financially free. Why? Because cash flow is going to be the type of income that you need in order to sustain your monthly needs. For example, maybe your rental payments, your home loan payments, your vehicle expenses, the general monthly expenses that we have. And some of you are maybe looking for that. You're looking for an alternative today. And some of you are maybe at a stage where your income has already been reduced as a result of the impact that COVID-19 has had on markets. And you now need to, quickly find another alternative to help you. So just remember that monthly profit income can also help you to take care of some of your monthly needs. So once you've now identified what it is that you need from a financial goals perspective, you've also identified you now need to invest in property that's going to be generating lump sums of income, or either profit income, as part of capital profit income. Then now you're in a better position to move forward. So you are now clear on your strategy. Now the next thing is you now need to understand, which area you're going to be investing in. And we actually had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where we interviewed Michelle Dickens, who is the MD and co-founder of TPN Credit Bureau. And some of you may know her. She's no stranger to the property industry. And this is also where we covered and we spoke a little bit about how to do area research and how some of the reports can actually help you analyze the area before you get into that particular area. So just remember that, go back to that session if you missed it with Michelle Dickens, where we spoke about the type of reporting that can help you and also how you are able to actually analyze a particular area. But let's say, for example, now you've already analyzed the area, you know exactly which area is going to work best for your strategy, because in property, you must understand that not every area that you are going to be going into is going to be a good area for you to invest in property. So it really is important to make sure that you spend sufficient time analyzing your area so that you know the strategy that you are considering, which is either a capital strategy or it's going to be a cash flowing strategy, which is a rental strategy, that strategy is going to work in that particular area. And of course, the next step would then be, once you've now identified that this is the area that you want to pursue, you need to make sure that even for the specific property type that you are considering, you need to make sure that there is a demand for the property. Because as property investors, we have to make sure that we invest in property where we know there is a demand for that particular property type even. And what I mean by property type is, I mean, for example, is there a demand for 1-bedroom units, 2-bedroom units, maybe 3 to 4-bedroom houses, in that particular area? So, the reporting and of course also doing some of the area research will be able to assist you in identifying what type of property types are also in demand. And once you have now once you understand that there is a demand for that property, of course, now we need to make sure that we work through the next steps in terms of doing the due diligence and then also running the numbers. Now, what I'm going to be focusing on today is I'm going to be focusing on running the numbers as part of analyzing a good property deal. Now, remember, there are various steps involved. Leroy also spoke to you a little bit last week about some of the golden nuggets that we need to take into account as far as property investing is concerned. So also listen to that session. But for sake of this session, we're really just going to be focusing on running the numbers. So we are going to assume now that all of these steps have been put in place, and we've also done sufficient due diligence on the property. So of course, now we know it is a good opportunity for us to pursue. And one thing that I also just want to mention to you, I think it's also important to know that as property investors, we generally buy average properties that the average person can afford when it comes to demand. So just remember that it's important for us to know that we have to buy average properties that the average person can afford out there. So whether it's affordability from a rental perspective, or maybe affordability from a buying perspective, it's important for us to know that we really have to invest in property that the average person is then able to also afford from that perspective, because normally that's where the demand is. And if you also go back and you listen to the conversation that we had with Michelle Dickens, you will also understand that as far as rental properties are concerned, generally we see we see a higher percentage of properties that are being well paid by tenants from about 4,500 up to 12,000. So of course there are other steps involved in terms of running the numbers and doing your calculations, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. Generally, if you listen to Michelle's talk, you'll hear that generally that's where, we find good paying tenants. It's normally between 4,500 up to 12,000. So I think that's something for you also just to be mindful of. So when you start looking for those deals, you have to make sure that the numbers work, of course, but that's a good rental price category to focus on when it comes to looking for investment type properties, because at the end of the day you want to rent that property out so that the rental income is able to cover all the expenses against the property. And an ideal situation would be where the property is also growing from a capital appreciation perspective. So ultimately that's the ideal situation for the investor. But we want to make sure that from day one we are generating income. And this is why this next point is so important, is that you need to write this down. In property, you make your money when you buy. So we don't make our money when we sell the properties. We have to know that we make our money when we buy the property. So that means that you have to be able to generate income from your property from day one. So from the day that you start renting it out, you need to already make sure that you are making your money on the buy. So that becomes very important. So I've coached various students, over the last couple of years, and I can tell you some of them have been saved from very difficult situations where they're planning to invest in a property and they think that it's a good deal, but they don't have the understanding of running the numbers, doing the due diligence. So they get themselves into a situation, firstly, where they're paying way more than what they're supposed to pay for the property, which is a bad decision, and it's a mistake in property. And then the second thing is that they also not generating enough rental income that's going to be taking care of the expenses against the property. Because remember, at the end of the day, you want your property to put money into your pockets and not take money out of your pockets. And that's the important thing that you need to understand. So as you're busy analyzing your deals, remember that when we analyze our deals and we find that we're not going to be making money from the beginning, then it's not going to be a good deal for us to invest in, because we want to make sure that we are going to be generating positive cash flow instead of negative cash flow. We don't want to be paying into our properties. We want to make sure that our properties are generating income for us. And that's very important if you want to become a trained investor and if you want to make sure that you do this the right way. Okay, so let's just quickly look at a deal. So this is one of the deals that I've done, and this is what you call a capital flip strategy in property. As I said, there are various strategies in property, but a capital flip strategy is really a strategy in property where you buy a property with the intention to sell it quickly. So let me just see, I just want to acknowledge some of you online here. So awesome. I've got Bongs. Bongs, it's good to see you. Bianca's joined us. Grace, Charles, Brandon, Felicity, and Vinny. So it's good to see you all. Anton, Tembisile, and Lungile. Awesome. Very good to see all of you. So remember, if you've got any questions, do put them in the chat box for me, and I will be able to address those questions for you afterwards. But okay, let's just get right into it now. So it's good to see you all. And just to go back to this deal. So this is a capital flip strategy in property. As I say, it's when you buy a property with the intention to sell it quickly. You want to flip the property. Now, this particular property was sourced from a seller who was immigrating at the time. And of course, I mean, prior to COVID, we really saw a lot of sellers in South Africa who are immigrating. And I believe that there are still sellers in South Africa who want to immigrate. And the reason why I mention this is because if they need to leave quickly for whatever reason, it really can become, what can I say, it can become a good opportunity for us. Why? Because that seller is in a position to negotiate. So they will be open to negotiations. Why? Because they want to sell the property quickly because they need to immigrate. We also see people who are maybe relocating and they want to move from one area to the next. And there are various reasons why people would want to sell. Some people want to downsize, some people want to upsize. And I think it's important to understand what the reason is of your seller, because this will also assist you with the negotiation there. And it's important to understand why they want to sell the property quickly. Now, the purchase price on this particular deal at the time was 635,000 Rand. The buying costs involved, so this includes the attorney fees, were 20,000 Rand. The market value, and this is important. So as a property investor, you need to know what the market value is of your property. Now, as you can see, the purchase price was 635,000 Rand, which means that the purchase price was lower than the market value. Can you see that? So it's important for us to make sure that if we are buying property that we want to sell quickly, we want to make sure we're generating some capital profits from that. So that is why it's important to understand what your market value is. And remember, I shared with you earlier on that the reporting that we shared via the Michelle Dickens talk that we had some couple of weeks back, those tools will also be able to help you understand what the market value is of that particular property that you are interested in. And now, once you understand the market value upfront, of course, now you know whether there's an opportunity to potentially make a loss on the property, or if there's an opportunity to make a profit on the property, because you're going to have to sell the property for, you know, what the property is really worth. Now, normally I sell my properties a little bit below market value, but in this particular instance, I was just playing around a little bit because the cash buyer here wasn't just any cash buyer. The cash buyer was an asset agent. And the reason why I don't have anything against asset agents, but I think this is such a good story to share, because it doesn't mean because you're an asset agent, you necessarily have the mindset of a property investor. So I think it's important to also know that it doesn't mean because you are a property professional in a particular area that that's necessarily your mindset. But, you know, as property investors and as trained property investors, our mindset is that we always want to generate income through our property. Now, this particular asset agent should have known that they were spending more for the property when they bought the property. Why? Because that's what they do. They review market valuation reports. I mean, this is what they do. They sell property on a regular basis. So they should have known that they were actually making a loss on the buy of the property. And that's what we mean when we say it's important also for you to know that you are going to be making, you know, a good purchasing decision when you buy the property as well. But I must also just mention that there are very good estate agents who are out there. And of course, they also, you know, they're property investors as well. So they know it's important to buy properties at the right prices. We don't want to be spending over market value for our properties. And in the beginning, when I got started, I didn't know anything about market valuation reports. I didn't even know that you can pull a report and you're able to see what the value of that particular property is. And, you know, I only learned this later on in my journey when I became trained, and I'm now educated in the areas of property, and hence I've been able to make better decisions going forward. So remember, for those of you who are starting out, you are able to pull this report so that you know what your property is worth at the end of the day. And it will give you an idea of what the valuation is of that particular property. So the profit on this particular property was 245,000 Rand. So that means that, you know, when you take the profit income and you deduct all the costs for the property from that, when you take the selling price and you deduct all the costs from that selling price, the profit that I was left with was 245,000 Rand. Now, remember, I said once again, your strategy will assist you with your financial goals. Now, of course, I had a goal where I needed to generate a lump sum amount of property so that I was able to take care of that particular goal at the time. And this is important for you to understand, is that your goal will determine what strategy you're going to go into. And of course, once you generate the income that you need to generate, now you can take care of that specific financial goal, whatever it is. And this is what this particular transaction was able to do for me. Okay, now there are different ways of, and of course, every deal is going to be different. You're not necessarily going to be making the same profit from every single deal you're going to go into. But I think what I'm trying to show you here is that there is a way to generate capital profits, you know, through property as well. And we get to learn about using other people's money. And we're also going to be covering a session one of these weeks where we'll be talking to you about how you are actually able to leverage other people's money, because as a property investor, you want to use very little of your own money to no to no, none of your own money. So we will be talking about the different ways of how you are able to leverage that. But for those of you who are still in a position today where you are able to access the bank's money, that's also a means of OPM, other people's money. So for those of you who are in a position to access the bank's money, I think it's important for you to understand, what your affordability is. So Uber Home Loans is also one of our vetted power team members. So for those of you, you may be familiar with them, but you're also able to access them directly from propertypick.co.za. So go onto the website, you'd be able to see their details there as one of our power team members. And what this will enable you to do is that you'll be able to actually do a pre-qualification in terms of what you qualify for, from the banks. And it's good to always know from that perspective also what you qualify for, because at least now you know how far you can actually leverage the bank's money when you want to go into these type of deals. So that's a good place for you to tap into. And then also for some of you, the reason why I also mentioned the website is for those of you who are also looking for investment type deals, Property Pick is also a good platform for you to tap into. So if you are looking for investment type deals, Property Pick caters is a niche platform, and it only provides our investors and our property buyers with investment property deal opportunities. Okay, so if you're looking for those good deals, just remember this is a good platform for you to tap into. And from that point onwards, you would be able to start analyzing the deal, doing your due diligence, running the numbers, making sure that it works for you. Okay, so let's just go into the next deal. Now, this is one of my students' deals. So this is a student that I actually coached in the area of property. And as I said to you, both Leroy and I have been training and coaching various people in the areas of property investing over the last couple of years. So I helped him actually to tap into this particular deal. Now, what happened here was that this particular seller he tapped into through marketing. So this is just him applying some personal marketing on his side, looking for opportunities, looking for the right deals, trying to understand which sellers are selling, which sellers need to sell quickly. And he really tapped into this particular seller through some marketing strategies and tools that he applied. But nevertheless, so he tapped into this particular property, and this property is actually in a sectional title complex. So if you rent it out as a normal strategy, you would be able to rent it out to a family, or to one tenant or to a couple, and you would be able to generate some sort of income from that. But now remember, as trained investors, we are always looking for ways to maximize the cash flow potential or the income potential on a particular deal. So what happened here was, he then decided to pursue the multi-let strategy. And really what this means that instead of renting out to one tenant, now you rent out to more than one tenant. So he currently has more than one tenant in place on this particular property. And the purchase price at the time was 715,000 Rand. And the attorney fees, because there are always attorney fees involved, just over 47,000 Rand. The refurb costs were about 37,000 Rand. So on this particular deal, he needed to do some refurbishment. And we normally do refurbishments when we want to add value to the property. And also, depending on our strategy, sometimes we need to do some changes to the property so that it can accommodate the strategy that we are wanting to obviously, leverage on the particular property. So there was a level of refurbishments that needed to be done on the property. You can see that its total cost is just under 800,000 Rand. Now, because he's doing this as a multi-let strategy, he's able to generate over 15,000 Rand of monthly rental income, which is really awesome. So if he had to rent this property out just to one tenant, it would have probably been half or slightly lower than half of this amount that he would have been able to collect every single month. But now, because he was able to maximize the income potential on this particular property, he's now able to generate more income. And I think that's very important. So when you start also looking at these investment type properties that you're going to be looking for on Property Pick, remember that it's also important for you to always find ways of maximizing the income potential. And also, sometimes when you look at a property, let's say, for example, there's a demand for 3 to 4 bedroom property in a particular area. Okay, you've now already established there's an opportunity there. Now you look at that 3 to 4 bedroom property, and now you also see, is there an opportunity maybe for you to, convert the cottage maybe into another flatlet where you can rent it out and generate some income and totally, subdivide it from the main house? Is there maybe an opportunity to take the main house and maybe divide that into two units, where you are able to generate income? So have a look at these types of deals, and soon we'll also be sharing with you some success stories of how people have been taking, how they've been able to tap into good investment type deals on property pick, and how they've been able to, convert it into multi-let so that they are able to generate healthier income through those properties. So just stay connected to us and we'll be able to share some more insights with you as we move forward. Now, okay, the monthly bond cost on this particular deal, because here he did leverage a portion of the bank's money in order to get into the deal. You can see that 6,509 Rand. Now, other costs involved, and this is so important when you start analyzing a deal. You need to know what all the costs are when it comes to analyzing that deal. People don't generally take that into account when they buy property. Now, if you're buying in a sectional title, of course, you're going to have to pay levies, on that particular property. So you need to also understand how is that amount going to impact your earning potential on the property at the end of the day. Do you know what the rates and taxes are on that particular property? So all of these things, and there are various costs involved, and I've just mentioned a few so that you are aware of them. But all these costs need to take into account. So you really need to understand all the costs that are involved in terms of having that particular property in place and renting it out. And once you understand all the costs, and now you know what the rental, the potential is for that particular property, now you take the costs and you actually deduct it from the rental income. Now, when you take all the costs and you deduct it from the rental income, you're supposed to have a positive amount of income remaining in your pockets, or what shall we call it? We call it monthly cash flow. So that's really monthly profit income that you generate. So as you can see, my student on this particular deal that I assisted him with, he was able to generate, and he's still generating this amount of income. In fact, it's already gone up, because remember, with cash flow and with rental, most times it will go up every single year. Why? Because there's generally an escalation. So even though as landlords at times we choose to apply smaller escalations because we want to make it more affordable for our tenants, at the end of the day, there's always that opportunity to bring in some rental escalations. And of course, your cash flow can just continue growing, through the years as you rent your property out. So he's making just over 5,600 Rand of additional income. And this gentleman is still employed, so he's still working at his job, but he's managed to start building his property portfolio. And now he's able to generate, almost 6,000 Rand of income, additional income every single year. And every single month, sorry. So this is the additional income that he's able to generate every single month. Now, this is really now what he's working towards here from a financial goal perspective, is that he wants to eventually get to a stage where he resigns from his job. So he doesn't want to be exchanging his time for money anymore. He wants to resign from his job. And can you see why he needs to start building this cash flow pot? Because eventually, if he's generating almost 6,000 Rand from one deal, and his financial freedom figure, for example, let's say is 20,000. Can you think now how many of these types of deals does he need in order to be financially free? So he'll probably need about 3 to 4 of these types of deals, so that he can eventually be in a position where he's financially free. So that means that the income that he's generating through property is basically taking care of his monthly financial needs, whatever that may be. And this is really how property can help you to start, generating additional income on the side. And this is just an idea just to share with you, some of the things that you need to take into account when you start analyzing a deal to see if it is going to be a good opportunity for you. And once again, as I said, if you are in a position today to apply for a bond, make sure that you leverage Uber home loans, and they would be able to go out to the various banks, get a comparison for you in terms of what you can expect from rates and also the total affordability amount. And you are then able to then have a look at that, compare what they're able to get for you as your, your power team member in the area of obtaining a home loan. And they can then help you from that perspective, and you can see what rates work best for you And because if you are getting the best interest rates from the banks, that means that, if you go with that particular bank that is giving you a better interest rate, that means that your repayment to the bank is going to be a lower amount compared to maybe what some of the other banks are giving you. And that's what we're ultimately looking for. We always want to make sure that we're getting the best deals from the bank, and Uber Home Loans will be able to help you do that. So remember, you can tap right into them via our Property Pick platform. Under our featured power team members, you'd be able to connect with them directly by clicking on that link, and you would be able to already get a pre-qualification that you can submit, and they will then contact you directly from that perspective. And of course, these types of deals that you are looking for, if you're looking for investment type deals where you are able to rent it out, or whether you're able to buy it and sell it at a profit, remember Property Pick can also assist you from that perspective. Now, I see some of you have already put some questions here, so that's great. Please continue with those questions. I'll definitely attend to them as soon as I'm done here. Okay, and then once again, just emphasizing the point that it's important for you to make sure that you make your money on the buy. So can you see why you need to make sure that you buy your properties at the right prices? Because you want to make sure that you're going to be generating some profit income from your deal instead of, negative income. So this could have most likely also been a negative 5685 for my student if he also didn't have the right level of training, the right level of assistance, coaching from that perspective that helped him. Can you see that? So this could have easily been a negative deal for him if he had paid way more than what he was supposed to pay for the property. So it would have been a bad investing decision for him from that perspective. But awesome. So this is then what we would call a cash flowing strategy in property. So for those of you who have any questions, now is your time to ask those questions. And I see some people have already asked. So let me just get into my comments here and just see what questions you have for me. And I would be able to then just assist you from that perspective. So let's just have a look at it quickly. Okay, so I'm just having a look at the questions. I saw some questions now, and what's happening here? Let me just open this again. Okay, great. So can we pick deals like this on Property Pick? So this is a question from Muhammad. So yes, Muhammad, most definitely. So remember I said to you that there is an opportunity for you to tap into investment type properties. So most certainly, I mean, if you go and you subscribe to the platform today, you'd already be able to find multiple deals that you can start analyzing and making sure that the deal is going to work for your strategy. So definitely an opportunity for you to, find some good deals there. And Fatima just, okay, Fatima has also given you a response there, just saying that Property Pick is full of deals like this. You've just got to subscribe to it. So thanks, Fatima, for also assisting on that question. And then also we've got Jonathan here. So he's obviously just sharing that he wants to learn more about property. So I hope today's been an insightful session for you, Jonathan. And we also have, so let me just see. Okay, Fatima also just sharing that she wants to, build her property portfolio there. So ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any other questions for me, please do share that with me now. Now is still an opportunity for you to share that. I know sometimes there is a little bit of a delay, just in terms of some of these comments that are coming through to us. So I think I'm just going to give you a few more moments just to, work through those and just post it for me in the chat box so that I can have a look at that. But I think whilst we're waiting, for some of you just to add your comments there, I think maybe just to tell you a little bit more about Property Pick. So I've been obviously sharing with you, this is a Property Pick Get Property Wise Wednesday chat. So Leroy and myself are the directors and co-founders of Property Pick. And as we said, we really started these Get Property Wise sessions a couple of weeks ago because we really wanted to empower our subscribers who are out there. Some of you are just starting out. You may not necessarily have all of the knowledge, all of the insights. So through these live sessions that we do for you every Wednesday, we want to make sure that you're getting some learnings and insights so that you can start making better property investing decisions. So we do believe that we are the #1 investment property platform in South Africa. Why? Because we are not like your typical property platforms, where everyone can list their property and, and everyone just wants to sell their property. We really work with specialized stock, where sellers are really prepared to give you good selling prices or purchasing prices as far as the deals are concerned. And there's really an opportunity for you to negotiate the best prices there as far as your deals are concerned. So we are the #1 investment property platform in South Africa. And we can comfortably say that because last year we were actually awarded as the most innovative investment property platform in South Africa 2019. So that's Leroy and myself just collecting our awards. The awards were actually given to us at the end of August. So we had an opportunity to go and collect those awards. So really, we want to make sure that we're really bringing value to our investors as well as to our sellers and our power team members. And one of the reasons why we really built this platform was, and I'm going to be sharing a few with you, is that Leroy and myself are both investors, and obviously being investors in property, we discovered early in our journey that, you know, it is a challenge to find the really good deals that are out there. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and sometimes it also takes a lot of financial resources to actually find the right deals. And the second thing was, of course, that we also wanted to have an opportunity, you know, where we would be able to find good power team members, because every professional trained investor needs to have a good power team, you know, good power property professionals and experts that you can work with. And, you know, we were having some of those challenges at the time. And really, that's the reason why we decided that we wanted to build this platform, was to make sure that we could address some of those pain points for ourselves, and of course also for all the other investors who are out there, so that this really becomes an awesome opportunity then for them to start moving, you know, their property goals forward successfully and their financial goals forward. So the platform was also you know, put in place with the objective to help sellers really sell their properties quickly. So sellers who are out there, some sellers are really in a situation where they need to sell quickly. They've, you know, not just because they want to immigrate or relocate, but you find some sellers who are in a situation where, you know, they've lost their jobs, for example, or maybe they're not getting their full salary at this stage. And, you know, they're not able to keep up with all of their monthly commitments. So they're in a situation today where they need to sell quickly. And Property Pick then becomes that opportunity. So they can list their properties on Property Pick, and they then have an opportunity to sell it quickly and in any condition. So as investors, we don't really, you know, it doesn't matter what condition your property is in, as long as the numbers work. As you saw in the one deal, we made provision there for the refurbishments that needed to be done on the property, and the deal still ended up being a profitable deal for the investor. So we really don't have a challenge to do refurbishments on our property. So just remember that if you are selling, you need to sell. Property Pick is really an opportunity, another platform for you. So as Property Pick, we're not going to be taking a commission from you. We really just provide you with the platform. All you have to do is make sure that you meet your minimal, you know, subscription fees on as a seller, and you are able to list your property and obviously have it advertised to investors and property buyers who are looking for your particular type of deals. And then, of course, the other objective was also really to give investors, like I said, an opportunity to access great property deals, you know, so who don't necessarily want to go out to every single area doing the research, finding those deals. You know, not everyone always has the time to do that. So we basically bring the deals to the investors, and they can then work through these multiple deals and see which one is going to work for their strategy, and of course, which one is going to meet their financial needs. And then last but not least is also to make sure that we always connect you with a good property power team. And as I said, these are really made of property professionals and experts that provide property related services. So whatever service it is that you're looking for, we're making sure that we are vetting all our power team members, so we're comfortable with them and we know that they'll be able to give you good service. So make sure that you visit our platform, see who our existing power team members are. We are expanding on this as we're moving through the various weeks. So we want to make sure that we also introduce you to good power team members. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, I think that's just me in a nutshell, just to also share with those of you who are joining us for the first time, you know, who Property Pick is and how we're able to assist you. And now I would like to go right back into the questions to see if there are any additional questions for me. And I'm just going to connect there quickly. So just give me a few moments. Let me just see if there are more questions that have come through. And at this stage, I don't see any further questions, ladies and gentlemen. But if you do have further questions, just remember, you're welcome to put them in the chat box. So please do put them in the chat box and we would be able to attend to them. Okay, so I see there's still a question here from Mohammed. that has come through. So Muhammad wants to know what is the cost to subscribe. And then his other question is also, he's also asking us, do we screen the properties that is placed on our website that makes it an easier deal to find? That makes it easier to find a deal. So first of all, yes, Mohammed, there is a subscription fee. So if you go on to www.propertypick.co.za, go on to the subscribe page, you will see that there are different subscription options for you there. So depending on whether you are an investor or a seller, you will then choose the right option for you there. And there are fees. The fees are very minimal, and you'll see it's really just so that you are able to engage with the platform. And it's also a month-to-month subscription, so you can cancel it at any time. So if you feel you no longer want to be getting these alerts and notifications on the platform, of course, you don't have to be subscribed to it. Some of you may only go on to it for a short period. Some of you want to stay on the platform because you always want to be alerted on new deals and new opportunities. And also there's a lot of other value adds. You'll see once you go onto the platform, we also make some legal documentation available for you, like lease agreements and offer to purchases. And also we've got some spreadsheets that you can work with that can help you better analyze a deal, which is really a lot of value for investors. And, that can help you make a better decision as far as the numbers are concerned. And there's a whole lot of other things. So please do visit the website. I'll also put it in the chat box afterwards. So that's www.propertypick.co.za. And then also you are asking if we do screen the deals. So yes, the relationships that we have in place with some of the specialized power team that we work with, we want to make sure that we bring in good investment type deals to you. Remember, it's always important, you still need to run the numbers depending on your strategy, and you need to make sure that you negotiate the best prices. But the awesome thing is that our sellers are negotiable in terms of their prices, so you need to make sure that you run your numbers and it's going to work for your particular deal. But of course, yes, those are the types of deals that we make available on the platform, as I said, investment type deals. Okay, so I think that covers everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. Thank you so much for engaging with me as well. It's always such a pleasure for us to connect with you all and to really share some of these learnings and these insights, really with the objective to help you move some of your property and your financial goals forward. So if you've got further questions, do put it into the chat box, and I would be able to connect with you later on and just respond to those questions. Either myself or the team will be able to respond to you. But awesome. So have yourself a blessed week. Join us again next week, same time. And once again, apologies for the delay today. We just had some technical issues in terms of the streaming, facility that we have here. But we are sorted, and I'm sure next week we'll be able to connect with you, at the same time. So that's 1:00 every Wednesday. Join us for our Get Property Wise Wednesday chats, and start moving your property investing goals forward. Awesome, and thank you for your time, and God bless you all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.